Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tina Dale with the Fairfax County Health Department, and today we are broadcasting live from Sprague Technology Center here in Fairfax County. The Fairfax County Public Schools and the Health Department are committed to improving the health of our community by teaching students the benefits of a healthy lifestyle, and that does include healthy foods. However, how much we eat is just as important as what we eat. And so today we are here to talk about proper portion sizes and to also talk about some of those healthy foods. So with me today is School Health Promotion Nurse Beth Kebede, and she is here to talk about some of these portion sizes that I was just referring to. So Beth, why is it so important that if we are eating a healthy diet and we are choosing healthy foods, why is it so important to really be conscious over how much we're eating? I mean, if it's healthy food, can't we just be eating healthy foods?
No, actually, it's very important that we control our portions, because if we eat more than what our body requires, then our body's gonna store the extra calories as fat, and consistently overeating is gonna lead to unhealthy weight gain as well as obesity. And obesity has been linked to a lot of chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, hypertension or high blood pressure, as well as cancer. So it's very essential that our daily meals include or consist of the recommended servings of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, as well as dairy products.
Okay. So of those, how much of these healthy foods should we be getting every day?
So according to the American Heart Association, we should be consuming about five servings of vegetables, 4 servings of fruits, 6 servings of whole grain, and 3 servings of dairy products every day, as well as 8 to 9 servings of either poultry, meat, or eggs every week, and 2 to 3 servings of fish or some sort of seafood every week as well.
Okay. So, do you have any tips on how to control those portion sizes?
Yes, so there are certain things that you could do in terms of monitoring how much you're eating. Serve from a smaller plate, so eat from a salad plate instead of eating from a dinner plate. Keep your serving dishes in the kitchen counter rather than having it on the table, so that you're not tempted to go for a second round. As well as half of your plate should be, or leafy vegetables and fruits should contain up half of your plate, and the other half should be split between lean proteins and grains. Substitute low-fat variety of foods. So instead of going for whole fat cream cheese or milk or any sort of dairy products, substitute and buy the low reduced or skim products.
Okay.
Encourage your kids not to eat mindlessly. Eating in front of TV or doing other activities is going to distract you from realizing that you've had enough. So it's very essential that you sit at a table, focus on what you're eating. That way you're aware when you have eaten enough. And then if you feel like snacking between meals, make sure to snack on high fiber, healthy snacks such as fruits and vegetables. That way you won't have to eat as much of your meal at your next meal. And finally, make sure not to eat from bags or packages, because then you're going to be tempted to eat a whole lot more than you should be eating.
Okay. So this is great advice for those families who are preparing their meals at home, but as so many families throughout Fairfax County, so busy between work and school and after school activities.
Yeah.
What tips do you have for those families who need to go out and grab a meal?
Okay, so there's certain things that you could do when you're eating out. First of all, order small portions rather than going for large ones. So instead of going for a medium or a large, order the smallest sizes. For example, if you go for a small size hamburger, you're going to save about 150 calories.
Okay.
Going for a smaller size of fries will save you about 300 calories, which is a lot. And if you're going for a small size of soda, that'll save you 150 calories as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you can order appetizers instead of entrees, because appetizers obviously come in small portions. If not, share your meal with a friend or a family. And if you don't want to do that, you can split your meal in half and pack one half of it in a to-go
that's great.
package so that you can eat that for lunch or dinner the next day.
That's great.
Fill up with healthy, high-fiber snacks before your entree comes, such as a bowl of salad or a cup of fruits. That way you won't have to eat a whole lot when your meal comes.
That's great. So you've given us a lot of information to think about, Beth. Do you have 3 takeaways, 3 tips for parents that they can remember? What are the 3 main points you want parents to remember?
According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, it only takes about 70 extra calories for a healthy weight child to be overweight.
Wow.
So parents can help their children maintain a healthy weight. Number 1, make sure at meal times half of leafy vegetables and fruits to take up half of your plate or half of a plate. Number 2, limit children's intake of sugar, either from foods or drinks. That's very important. And finally, you encourage your children to eat healthy snacks, such as healthy high fiber snacks, such as fruits and vegetables during between meals.
Excellent advice, and great point about those sugary drinks.
Yes,
those are the sneaky ones in there.
Yes.
Well, great information, Beth. I really appreciate you sharing that with us today. So joining us today from Fairfax County Public Schools, I have Morgan McGhee. Morgan is the Food Operations Specialist. Thank you so much for being with us, Morgan. It's nice to see you again. So Beth gave us some really great information about some of the healthy foods that we should be eating and ways to control those, like how much of each we should be eating. But short of bringing measuring cups and spoons with us, do you have any advice on how we could go about determining what is a healthy portion?
Of course. So the reality is that a lot of Americans really have skewed perceptions of what a portion is. Take, for instance, this pasta. This is a serving size of pasta, which is a half a cup. In many popular American restaurants you might go to, they'll probably serve 4 times as much as this. Right? So, if someone gave you to the restaurant, you would be up in arms. You would be upset, right? But this is your actual serving size. However, as you mentioned, you don't necessarily need to take with you measuring cups, measuring spoons to really know how much you should be eating. All you need is your hands.
Okay.
All right. So here we have our pasta, which is a serving size of a half a cup.
Okay.
All right. So we have our 1 handful, half a cup. Very simple. And we can visually see the difference with our rice, which is 2 servings or a cup of rice.
Okay.
So we see this is 1 serving and this is 2 servings. Tina, do you think that you would usually eat this at a meal, or?
That's a lot.
That's a lot for you.
Yes.
Okay. So like as Beth mentioned earlier, we need 6 servings of grains per day, essentially. All right. So for most meals, maybe you have 2 servings, but it doesn't always have to be at one meal setting, right? Maybe you have 2 for breakfast, maybe you have 3 for lunch. You kind of balance it throughout the day.
So we can split that up through the course of a day.
You can, because like you said, this is maybe a lot of rice for you, but for someone else, maybe they like this much rice and they also want something on the side.
Yes.
Maybe it's a tortilla, or maybe it's naan or pita bread. So really it depends on the culture and the practices really in that family, but also just recognize that this is the serving size.
Yes.
And the same idea can be used, your hands can be used for other groups as well, right? So if we look at our fruit or vegetables, the same idea, half a cup, all right? A half a cup of fruit here, we use 1 handful. And if it's for raw leafy greens, you would just use two hands, and that will be a serving. And so the same thing for your fruit, right?
Okay.
Whether it's a medium-sized apple or a plum, you really can just look at your fist as being that serving size. And the same is true for your protein. So you would just take the palm of your hand here, and here we have our 3-ounce serving size, which would be for chicken, fish, beef, pork, and that will be 1 serving size.
Excellent. So this is fantastic information. I think a lot of parents will appreciate that it's so simple that they could use their hands to determine the right portion size. But I see you've got a couple of students with us.
I do.
So I'd like to kind of get their opinion and see what they think about this. Do you mind introducing them to us?
Of course. So here I have with us today 2 students from Justice High School. We have Miss Kira West and Miss Maggie Rutherford, who are student athletes. They work with Food Nutrition Services and Real Food for Kids on the Student Nutrition Advisory Committee.
Excellent.
Or
Thank
council.
you. Thank you. Welcome, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. So, ladies, as you all were listening, with the portion control, what do you all think as student athletes, as young people, how can we apply this, or is this even applicable to you in your lives?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that I really do to control the portion sizes is I do a lot of my meal prep, especially for lunch, at the beginning of the week. So I'll set out and plan what I'm going to have each day of the week. So it makes it a lot easier to just grab it in the morning and then I'm set for the day, rather than waiting until it's lunch and I'm super hungry and just want to eat all of the snacks. But
Right.
Just having it set out and knowing what I'm going to eat ahead of time really helps to know how I'm getting the different food groups.
Very good. And what about you, Kira?
Well, for me, I'm really busy between being a student athlete and often finding myself doing a lot of my schoolwork during lunch. I find it difficult to have times for set meals, which can make portion sizing pretty difficult. But I try and combat that by prepping my snacks at home.
Okay.
So what I have is what I get. I can't go back and get more. So my portion's pretty set, and so I try and be conscious of that when packing. And it just makes it pretty easy to stay consistent throughout the day, so even if I'm not getting a full meal, I'm still satiated.
Very good. Yeah, so you mentioned a really good point about snacking. Snacking can be a great alternative for the busy teen, the busy family, or if you just want a smaller portion, right? So just remember, if you are snacking, you want to think about having at least 3 out of the 5 food groups, and one of those should really be a fruit or vegetable. And I would even challenge that by saying you really want a protein, right, to make sure that you're satiated. So, one of my favorite snacks is a banana nut roll-up. I simply take a whole grain tortilla, which I have my grain here, and maybe I'll put a little almond butter or peanut butter on top, have my plant-based protein there, honey if I'm feeling fancy, and then I'll put a banana on there, fresh banana, roll it up, and I'm good to go. So that's that's one of my favorite snacks, and it's a kind of a healthier version of your typical peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right, which kind of gets a bad rap. So what do y'all think? What are some of your favorite snacks?
I really love the Sabra hummus pretzel cups, and I like to add carrots or crunchy vegetables in as well. So the hummus can be protein,
right?
Pretzel can be carbs, and then the vegetable is of course your veggie.
Right.
And so those are really great to dip, and they're really easy, pretty mess free. And also berries are really great. And when I'm always on the go, they're really easy
to just grab.
Yeah.
Right. Very good. So what about you, Maggie? What do you like?
Yeah, I like yogurt with some berries and granola. As well, I really enjoy bars. So, Kind bars and Lara bars especially. So Kind with the grain, and then the Lara bars have a lot of the fruit and proteins through the cashews that they have in them.
Yeah, so bars can be a really great alternative. They're very easy to grab on the go. As always, you want to remember though your added sugars. You don't want to have any bars that have too much added sugar. Make sure it's from natural sources, as he mentioned. Maybe it's dried fruit or something of that nature instead of having added sugars in it. So those are really great ideas. The key to this to remember is that whatever your goal is, whether it's portion control, you're trying to look at how much you're eating for your whole family, snacking. You want to set realistic expectations. Maybe you can do meal planning in the beginning of the week. Maybe that's not realistic for you. Maybe it is. But you want to think about what is realistic and think about the challenges that you might face along the way, right? You maybe are, running late, usually have breakfast. What can you have at school? Your school nutrition program can provide some good alternatives, right? So in the high school setting, we have Fresh Express. Maybe you grab a yogurt parfait, or we have a chicken wrap, or even in elementary setting, maybe you want a lighter lunch at a salad bar school and you kind of get some of those proteins on the salad bar as well as some fruits and vegetables. And those could be some of those smaller meal options to help you really control your portions as well. So, the big thing to kind of think about as well is where are we getting our information from? So what do you all think as far as resources, aside from your school nutrition professionals and your public health nurses at school, as young people, is there anywhere that you go, use social media to kind of see what's legit?
So I personally love the college nutritionist on Instagram. She's a registered dietitian, and pretty sure her name's Rachel. She actually struggled with healthy eating in college, so she turned that around and now has a pretty big Instagram following, and she posts healthy meal ideas that are really quick and easy and realistic for basically anyone. I can make a lot of them in 5 minutes. And she likes to emphasize 1 starch per day, which can help Americans' tendency to overeat in the grain category. So the college nutritionist is a really great resource for me.
Yeah, and as Kira mentioned, you want to drift towards professionals, right? So she's a registered dietitian. She even has her PhD in nutrition, and so you really want to make sure that you're going to your healthcare provider before you start any big major lifestyle changes, and make sure that you have all the information you have before you start anything drastic. So I believe that's all we have, for you all today. Tina, if you have any last comments to make, we really enjoyed being here today, and I think this is great practical advice that we can apply even tomorrow, today.
Absolutely. This is really fantastic advice. I love to get your input and your snack ideas. I was filing those away. So Maggie and Kira, thank you so much. And to Morgan McGhee, thank you. And Beth Kebede, thank you very much for joining us today. If you would like to get more information on portion sizes and healthy food options, we do recommend that you go to choosemyplate.gov. If you would like to get more information about the food program at Fairfax County Public Schools, please go to fcps.nutrislice.com. In addition, if you guys happen to have any questions about any of the information we provided today, we do invite you to use our comments section below, and we will follow up with you directly. And lastly, if you would like to get any information about the School Health Promotion Program, we ask that you go to fairfaxcounty.gov/health and search for school health. So again, a big shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. A big shout out to Sprague Technology Center for hosting us today in their fabulous studio. And to all of you all watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you again soon.